Sam Darnold. Is Sam Darnold the next Alex Smith? Let me just point out the parallels. Alex Smith in his first from 05 to 2010, he missed 2008, but that's like 5 years. Right. He was awful. I mean, he lost like 34 games. He threw like 50 plus picks. In a lot of ways, he was Sam Darnold. He was a high pick with a lot of pressure on a bad team, trying to justify the pick, trying to do too much, and committing turnovers, and really getting pushed out for bums like Troy Smith and David Carr. And people thought he was trash. I thought he was trash for a long time. And then Jim Harbaugh came in, and all he did was boost his confidence, put a good team around and boost his confidence and say, dude, stop doing too much. Don't think of yourself as the first pick in the draft. Just be a freaking game manager and stop turning the ball over. And Alex Smith got the message, and he ended up having a viable career as a starter, a good starter who won a lot of games. Sam Darnold's in a similar situation, was on a bad team, tried to do too much, a lot of different coaches, bad coaches. He's right about that age where Jim Harbaugh got Alex Smith, a little bit younger. Now, Kyle isn't exactly Jim Harbaugh, and Kyle is pretty negative, but I don't know. All of a sudden, you give him a good team. What do you think?
It's always possible, right?
Manage the game, Sam. Manage the game, please.
I just don't think, because look, even seeing a lot of some Panthers games, surprisingly, I watched like a decent amount of Panthers game fantasy wise. It's just watching Sam. Sam always has so much boneheaded what are you doing there? Like, why'd you throw that? Or why can you do better? But then he does have some wow moments. It's like, okay, that's the guy at USC I saw that beat Penn State in that Rose Bowl ever since it's so many of the games. Because I really thought Sam Darnold was going to be the first pick in that draft, not Baker Mayfield. And I thought he should have. And my God, thank God he wasn't. Because everything's just looking bad from there. So I think, look, yeah, it's definitely going to – being with the 49ers is definitely going to help him more than he ever was with the Jets and the Panthers. You know, better head coach, better offensive – better everything, right? Well, again –
Adam Gase, Matt Rule. I mean, God, that's
Adam
terrible.
Gase, Matt Rule might –
Matt Rule? Oh.
I'll take – Matt Rule over Adam Gase is a little better. But either way, it's not a little better. Adam Gase, man, come on, dude. The guy was –
Turd sandwich. It's
fair.
Like, yeah, one way or another. Like, well, either one. Yeah, I'm not –
I think there's no better place to get reclamation project. And again, Darnold could do better because he already has experience. There's not too much they have to work on, and the flaws that are about him are as clear as day. They got enough tape on him. It's like all I gotta do is work on this one or two key areas, and then hey, Sam, just don't do too much.
Don't throw turnover. Don't throw picks. And even if you go back last year, he finally brought his interception percentage down a little bit. It was just astronomical forever. And last year was like average. And if you look at Purdy was average with his interception percentage last year. I mean, he was average with his yards per game. What made him good, he was just managing the game. And then when he got in the red zone, he was throwing touchdown passes, unlike Jimmy Garoppolo. If Sam Darnold can do that, like average 230 yards a game, don't throw a bunch of picks, but convert in the red zone, dude, you could make a lot of money on this team, man. I mean, that's really all Brock Purdy did. He wasn't throwing for 300 yards a game. It was like 210 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I just wonder how he's gonna fare if the open read isn't there or something like that, and things are gonna have to all right, how are you gonna? What happens when you got to switch from 2 to 3 or play down pocket? That's why I think it's
because Purdy did well with that.
He did amazing with that, and it's like, and can Sam actually challenge deep? Because I think another thing that Purdy did so good is he would take the shots deep just to keep, even if it missed, it kept the defense a little more honest, and just it was now we got to defend every blade of grass. We're not just got to defend middle of the field or the flat. Right. It's like, my God, you're making us beyond. We got to think of everything now. So that's another thing about quarterbacks. Hey, just because it was a incompletion doesn't mean you weren't pushing the defense to get thinking. Because the more you get a player thinking and not using their instincts, it gives an advantage to you. You're putting an extra second on their clock. So I just wonder how Sam going to do from that aspect. It's like, all right, great, it sounds good, but all of a sudden now we're getting Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0.
True. I just want to say that this was a lot of the conversation with Alex Smith 10 years ago.
That's
when Jim Harbaugh got here, Alex Smith had started 50-something games. He was way under 500. His TD to INT ratio was below 1. I mean, people thought Jim Harbaugh was crazy to keep him, and all Harbaugh said was, people was like, "What are you talking about? Alex Smith is a really good quarterback." He kept saying that.
Manning that year.
Well, that was the next year. I know. But it's like he went 13-3 with Alex Smith that year. Everyone was like, man, Jim Harbaugh's a miracle worker. And all he did, I mean, that team was very similar to the teams in the past. All he did was have a little bit better scheme and say, Alex, don't lose the game. Your job is to not lose the game. So Darnold,
first year, Jim Harbaugh, that was the lockout year. Remember, he couldn't talk to anyone, OTAs and stuff like that. So it's like, damn, you got this guy expedited. That was nuts.
Coach of the year for that. And if Kyle could do that with Sam Darnold, he'd finally be coach of the year too. And it's like there are similarities in the situation. I think this team is every bit as good, or if not as good as if not better than the one in 2011. Although that offensive line was great, but it's just Kyle actually building up a quarterback's confidence, and I don't know that he can do that. It's not necessarily what he and his dad have had success with coaches who already have quarterbacks who already have confidence. Steve Young, John Elway, Matt Ryan, quarterbacks who lack it. I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's what Kyle has to do. Tell him you like him. And he's trying, right? He's saying, hey, man, he's got as good of a skill set as any quarterback I've seen. That's a good start. Keep telling him that. Because that's what Mike McDaniel does for Tua. It worked. Tua was broken. Yeah. Shreddy Murphy says, Niners been unmarried too long and now expectations are too high. Not impossible to find the one, but better to build with good prospects. R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. Yeah, how do you maintain being single so much with so many women always hitting you up, man? I mean, you could do it. You're like the Kyle Shanahan of the dating game right now. Jose's like, shut up. Monster Toure says, Grant, if you're Trey, what list of things to work on did you take to quarterback coaches in the offseason? Name 3. Love the show, PT Tub. Jay Sanchez is a beast.
You're a beast.
Yeah.
You.
That front leg locking thing that Jalen Hurts used to do, that Trey Lance does, he needs to get a more fluid delivery. It's a little out of sync. So because that'll improve his accuracy on the short throws.
That's what makes the ball sail, right?
It is, yes. Because, yeah, it just means your lower body is ahead of your upper body's dragging. Your lower body's ahead of it, and so your release point is back here instead of out in front, and the ball's going to go up and high.
That's why he missed that. What was it, Tyler Croft, right, in the Bears game?
Yeah,
you know what
and the only way to what?
He needs to work with me because right now in my flag football league I have 19 touchdowns, only 2 picks, and I'm tossing that. I'm airing it like Eric Cocker says. I'm airing that out. So
that what. Chris Tallarico says Lynch has a type of quarterback and an exciting black quarterback, isn't it? That's why they won't go after Lamar. Whew.
I don't think Lynch has much say of the quarterback like that. It's going to be all Kyle.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he did play with Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson, so I see what you mean. But man, I don't know that for a fact. 2.0 says, if the Niners think Trey isn't good, you're going to pay him to sit on your bench anyways, and value will only go down. The cap hit doesn't matter at all if he isn't going to play. Might as well deal him now. Sure. I mean, you can make that argument. All I'm saying is I don't think the Niners have the courage of their convictions. They can say they don't think he's good, but I think they're also afraid that they're wrong because they've been wrong so many times. And if they're wrong on this one, it makes it so much worse. I mean, it makes it so much worse.
You can't deal him now either. His value will only go down. I think his value is already peak bottom right now. He's coming off of significant injury, and then nothing pretty wowed him. But again, he's still a mystery, but coming off an injury. So his peak value is like low. Because what was it? His peak value was what, the 3 first rounds they spent, and now it's like everything's all bad right now. So he needs.
I mean, the fact that he was the 3rd pick in the draft after not playing for an entire season is something that would only have happened during a pandemic. It was a quirk. And now it's been 3 years since he's played. Like I don't even know what his value is. It's all theoretical.